Looks like you've been missing a lot of work lately.
I wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bob.
What would you say you do here?
God damn it. Bob, we love playing here tonight. My brother's ready.
It helps if you think of it as a game, Bob. Every game has a winner and a loser.
You must possess strength to inflict pain, Bob.
Yo, welcome to episode 41 of the TwoBobsCast. We are A to Z rock and metal podcast. We go from A to Z, picking bands, going through their catalogs, telling you what we think, ranking them all from worst to best. And we are on season 2, so we are going through the alphabet for a second time. We are still in A once again. Last we did a bonus episode for Sonic Temple. The week before that, we did A for Avenged Sevenfold. This week, the mighty Massachusetts-based, I believe, Aerosmith, long-time rock band. So looking forward to getting into them. Once again, my name is Herd, and I'm here with my partner, Mr. H. How you doing, Mr. H?
I'm doing great, man. So y'all rested up from Sonic Temple?
I am not. All rested up. It's going to take quite a bit of time. As you know, it was my birthday last week, and I am 44. So 44 years, not as easy to do it anymore as 22 years. But
your immune system isn't quite what it used to be. Huh?
Well, no, I'm just hacking up,
the festival
cigarette smoke and dirt from the sidewalk and whatever hell else we ran into. So, yeah, I'm doing my best, but just
great.
It takes a little bit longer. It takes a little longer than it used to, but good times had by all.
Awesome.
But as you can see, we have a special guest with us today from the Potter Than Hell podcast. Our buddy Steve has joined us. Steve, how you doing, man?
I am fantastic, guys. Glad to be here, and happy belated birthday, the Herd.
Appreciate that very much. So why don't you tell us a little bit about Potter Than Hell? What do you guys do over there? What do you guys talk about?
We're pretty much kind of like you guys, A to Z. We do everything from Aerosmith to Zebra. I'll say Zebra. I wasn't going to say ZZ Top. And we've been doing it for almost 8 years. We just put out episode 410 last week, and I do it with my son, Dylan. He obviously quite younger than me and my other two co-hosts, BC and BB. And we just kind of talk all this stuff. We do Maiden, Kiss, Priest, everything. We do we even do some Anything Goes episodes where you could pick anything from any genre, and those get pretty like crazy with some of the stuff. And
okay,
we have a great time, and it's pretty much that we've been doing it for years. We'd be sitting out on my porch in the summer, coming up and having a couple beers, watching a game or something like that, and just talking about all this stuff. But we're just recording it now.
Yeah, love it. That's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, I've listened both times, and it is very entertaining. But yeah, 10 times us. How about that? We were on 41; they're on 410.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, that's great. Congratulations, guys.
Appreciate it.
We met Steve through our buddy Brian. Brian, who we've been friends with for a while, met Steve on the rock cruise. What was it? The
Monsters of Rock.
Monsters of Rock cruise. Yeah, which Brian tried to get me to go to. Not quite my thing. I do like a lot of the bands, but I guess I'm just more into either the heavier, more recent stuff, or I don't know. I guess just a different wheelhouse of stuff. But I'm glad that I've heard they're awesome. They're awesome shows. So
definitely more my thing, even though I haven't been on one yet. But maybe someday.
You should go. That's fun. And for us too, it's more about the bands are just a soundtrack for it. It's just kind of just to hang with the guys, and we were talking before we started to record that we have probably 15 or 20 people that meet on this cruise, and there's times where we're all just sitting there, shooting the shit, having a beer, like, Extreme's playing.
Yeah.
Some of these people you probably only see
later.
once a year, huh?
Yeah, we try to hit. There's like a lot of European bands that never play in the States. We always try to hit those guys.
Okay,
but like,
I mean, your friends, your group is probably people
those,
you see only once a year, right?
Absolutely,
that's pretty
and
awesome.
they're fellow. Some of them are fellow podcasters, so we talk to them a lot, and we have text groups and stuff. But it is great to actually see them.
Very cool. All right. Well, like I said, today we got Aerosmith, so we're going to dig deep into them and share our thoughts. So, Mr. H, what do you have about
Aerosmith? Aerosmith, founded in 1970 in Boston, Massachusetts, as you mentioned. The main five guys have been around pretty much the whole time. You got Steven Tyler, Joe Perry, Brad Whitford, Tom Hamilton, and Joey Kramer. They're kind of known for a mix of blues rock, hard rock, glam rock, heavy metal, some R&B even in there. And crazily, I never realized this. They're the best-selling American hard rock band worldwide of all time, selling more than 150 million albums. That's insane. That's an insane number. Like, I couldn't even believe when I read that. I put it in all caps in my notes. I could not even believe it. But very, very popular. I think they still have 20+ million monthly listeners on Spotify, which is that's a lot. Like, they're still ranked.
Well, we'll talk about why we'll talk about why later. But
yeah, we will.
A lot of the extremists, or I would say, I guess the old school Aerosmith fans might say they sold their souls and all that type of stuff.
Yeah,
so, yeah,
there's two distinct parts of Aerosmith that we're going to talk about here.
I was going through some lists on YouTube just to see kind of what people were saying about Aerosmith. Some people refuse to rank anything the second half of their catalog like it doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm. And
like,
some people, that's all they like. They don't like any of the old stuff, right? So there's definitely a lot of switching going on in the ranking. So it'll be interesting to see where we all fall out on all 14 of these albums we're going to do.
It's funny. Our buddy Brian here, I got into Aerosmith because of Mrs. Doubtfire. So my dad's favorite band was Aerosmith when I was growing up. So that was part of it. But the second part of it was Wayne's World. Wayne's World had all those Aerosmith songs, I think, on there too. So that was kind of my intro to Aerosmith. So, all right, Mr. H, back to you.
All right. So, hey, what's up, John? John's here too. So, all right. First album called Aerosmith. January 5th, 1973. 8 songs, produced by an Adrian Barber, a guy I'd never heard of. Most of the songs here, hey, there's the album right there. Hey, you probably have all of them sitting over there, don't you? Nice.
Nice.
All right. I like that. That's good.
Bet you not a lot past 1987. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Most of the songs written by Steven Tyler. Tyler and Steven Tyler and Joe Perry were known, a songwriting team known as the Toxic Twins, which I thought was interesting. I don't think I ever heard that before either. This album made it to number 21 on the Billboard album charts. And most of the guys I read too were scared to death to record this album at first because they had never been kind of in a recording studio before, and some of them even kind of felt like they sounded like crap. So it was, but there's a few classic songs on this one. Like we're probably gonna find almost every one of their albums, which is pretty cool actually. So my favorites on this one are "Dream On." That's a huge classic. I think it's their most played song on Spotify with over 1.3 billion views or listens. That's crazy. Mama Ken I liked a lot. Also a great cover of that song by Guns N' Roses later on too. And I like Walking the Dog. Skippers for me on this one. I didn't really care for One Way Street or Write Me a Letter. I have this one as a C+. This is not necessarily my thing, but there are some classics, like I said, on this album already. And like I said, I really like the Guns N' Roses cover of Mama Ken. So I have this one as number 9 out of the 14. I have this as a C+. What did you think of Aerosmith, Steve?
Yeah, not a favorite of mine. I like some of the stuff on there. It's, I don't know if you want to call it primitive Aerosmith, I think, but I don't think it's one of the best debuts that came out of the 70s for sure. Like on some of the songs, Steven Tyler does not even sound like the Steven Tyler that you
No.
get on the next album. I know it's like, who's this guy singing? Some of the stuff on it is good. Mama Kin is great. Covered by Guns N' Roses. We probably heard that 100 times too. Make It is really good. And excuse me. And I would say probably the next one that I really only like on that is Walking the Dog. And it's not a great version of it, but it's pretty cool. It's got a good groove to it. But you can tell that they're very raw. You can tell that they didn't spend a fortune on this album, but it's not bad. I give it a C, I'll say. And I have this at number 12.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with everything you guys said. The one controversial take I will say is Dream On. I do not like that song. I've never particularly liked that song. To me, it's kind of gotten on my nerves. So that takes a hit for me. Everybody kind of says that's their track of this album. I totally disagree. I agree with you guys. I think Mama Kin is the star of this record. Walking the Dog, also one of my favorites. Not a whole lot on here that I like. Totally agree with Steve that Steven Tyler does not sound like himself here. Next record, a lot more closely to what he sounds like. So really quickly he'll find himself. But yeah, this first record for me was pretty rough. Just nothing really stood out other than Mama Kin. I had this as a C also, and I had this number 8. So I think we're all pretty close there. Not one of our favorites, but
Yeah.
Aerosmith, like I said, just Dream On. It's always just kind of, I don't know, screeched at me like nails on a chalkboard. I just never really could get into it.
Dream Off for you. Yeah, the whole band doesn't really sound like Aerosmith on this album, even more than Steven Tyler. Like it just doesn't sound like what they'll sound like later. In my opinion, I feel like that it's partly their maturity and how they get better at the recording process and obviously their instruments, but also their producer, I believe, had a big part of that too, which we're going to get to here in a second. So on to the next album, Hit Your Wings, which came out about 14 months later, March 15th, 1974. There it is. Steve's holding it up. 8 songs on here. This is Jack Douglas, which is the first time we're going to hear his name, and Ray Colcord are the producers on this one. This album to me sounded way better production-wise, really good for 1974. I mean, geez, this album's 50 plus years old. It sounds really good. The much tighter band sound with their playing complementing each other more than on the self-titled, where it was kind of almost like they're even playing different tracks. It was definitely a little different. This is a lot more cohesive, sounds a lot more like Aerosmith. Less blues on here, a lot more up-tempo rock stuff. Lots more good guitar solos too. Herd, I know you love that.
Love it.
My favorites on here are pretty much the hits, but a couple other ones that I found that I'm not the biggest Aerosmith fan, but I found that some of this older stuff I didn't really listen to all that much because I wasn't a big fan of theirs. And I found some songs in here that I really liked that I never really even heard before, which is always cool for me to find this stuff. So my favorites are Same Old Song and Dance. I like that song a lot. And Train Kept Rolling. Those are the 2 songs I had heard a bunch of times off this album. But I also liked Lord of the Thighs. Funny name too, but really good song. And Seasons Wither. I really liked Seasons Wither a lot. I think it's the last track on the album. It's a really good song. So I have no skippers on this one. I have this as a B. I had this as number 4 out of the 14 albums. Good, solid album. Couple more classic songs on it, just like they kind of all seem to have. But I like the whole thing more than I thought I would. What did you think of Get Your Wings, Steve?
Well, first time I heard this album, it was probably 1977. I was visiting my cousins in California, and at that point, I was strictly Kiss. That was it. I had become a Kiss fan in '76, and by then I had just about every album up till then. And I really didn't. I have an older brother, but he wasn't like a musical influence on me like I hear from a lot of my friends and stuff like that. My big brother, big sister had this album. They had me check it out. I didn't have that. My brother wasn't the music fan. And So I was in California and at my cousin's house, and I was going through her record collection, and I'm like, oh, the Aerosmith, that looks pretty cool. So I put it on, and I was like, whoa, that riff for Same Old Song and Dance. I'm like,
Mhm.
what the hell is this? And this is literally the first band that got me away from Kiss. Like, not away, but like that I had access to and started checking out. And I love this album. I've had this in every form you could get. Well, except probably reel to reel. Cassette, CD,
8-track.
8-track as well.
Nice.
Yep, back in the day.
Yep.
And but I love this album. Same Old Song and Dance. That sax solo in Same Old Song and Dance is absolutely killer. Lord of the Thighs, Mr. H mentioned that too. That song is fantastic.
Yeah.
Listen to the version of that on live bootleg. It is absolutely fantastic.
Oh, I will. Nice.
There's nothing I skip on this one. There's no skippers at all on there. Train Kept a Rolling is of course awesome, but I guess that Dick Wagner played the guitar solo on that.
Oh,
according to what's out there about it, that Jack Douglas had brought him in.
wow.
And songs like SOS Too Bad, Pandora's Box, I think it's great. And I just since you guys invited me on, so I've kind of been going through the albums, and this one hits my turntable quite often, a couple times a year, and it's my number one.
Okay.
Wow, nice.
I give it an A+ because there's nothing on there that I would ever skip or even think about skipping.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
Well, since you mentioned Kiss, it reminded me. How did you guys get Gene Simmons to do your intro, Steve? That's what I want to know.
I did the Gene Simmons Vault Experience.
Okay.
And I asked him to do a bumper first. He said, absolutely.
Oh,
Nice.
hell yeah.
Yeah,
I was going to say money, knowing Gene.
Well, he already had my money by then.
Right. So kind of the same, yeah.
Yeah, so he no problem doing it. And I actually got to sing with Gene at that event.
Awesome.
Not on the stage, but he would personalize your vault for you. Like we put whatever you wanted on there. And we were racking our brains. What do I want to get to put on there? So we were throwing stuff around. And then Dylan goes, Dad, he goes, why don't you have Gene put on there? How does it feel to be a real asshole? And I'm like, that's it. And when I said that to him, he was kind of taken aback. And then he starts singing it. So then me and my buddy so we sang a little chorus of that while he was signing it. And he's like, that's awesome. And I can guarantee you no one else had their vault sign that.
No way.
So
that's incredible. What a story.
That's how we got the bumper. We actually have a Vinnie Vincent bumper too, but we haven't. We're saving that one.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
That's cool.
That's
all right.
Awesome.
See, that's how we roll here on the TwoBobsCast. When something comes to our mind, we have to just stop everything.
You got to throw it out.
We have to investigate it. So
great.
Awesome story. So Get Your Wings. I totally agree with both of you guys. This is a way better record, way more polished. It sounds more like what to expect from them. They're really, it didn't take them long, which a lot of times when you get a band that their debut's not the best in the world, it takes them a little while to find their foot. It looks like they didn't really need any time here. They were like, well, we had one, now we're ready to go. I think the band is set. Everybody's ready to roll. It's a great album. You guys pretty much hit all the strong things. Same Old Song and Dance is awesome. Lord of the Thighs is great. SOS Too Bad, Train Kept a Rollin', Seasons of Wither, Pandora's Box, definitely no skippers. This one is number 3 for me, and I think that's a testament to, I think, their strongest albums, which are all coming up very, very shortly here. That this one's number 3, because this is an ace album as well. But this is a B+ for me, just because those other two were so much better for me. I think I had to separate them with the letter grades, but awesome. It sounds great. The guitar solos are great. As you said, Mr. H, that's what I aim for with these
yes,
things.
sir.
Like, how good are the guitar solos? That's why Metallica is like my favorite band, because they got the guitar solos, and Megadeth and their guitar solos. Like that's my game. So when I hear these, Joe Perry guitar solos, I love it. So Ear Wings is number 3 and a B+ for me.
All right. Good. So we all really like that one. Next up, we got Toys in the Attic, April 8th, 1975. There it is.
Boom.
Very nice. Jack Douglas again. 9 songs on this one. Jack Douglas produced, which he's going to be on many, many, many of these. This is kind of said to be a much more sophisticated album with confidence, kind of built up from lots of touring. It's kind of started from scratch, from where the first 2 albums were songs built up from years of touring and playing them live in clubs and kind of reworking them. This is the second album working with the same producer, allowed them to work together better, knowing what each other could do well and what the producer expected from them. I thought this was a great little story too. This is a cool way for somebody to write lyrics. I always like these little stories about how they come up with some of the stuff. So Steven Tyler said that he would take the music, just the instrumental music that they would write and record. He would put on headphones and walk around everywhere listening to the music that they had. And he would come up with lyrics that not only fit the music, but also his surroundings and the experiences and things he saw. And he would sing along with the music based on his surroundings and things that he saw until he had something. I thought, man, what a cool way to write lyrics for a song. That's incredible. What a cool story. So my favorites on this one are Walk This Way and Sweet Emotion, or songs everybody heard. Those are the 2 classics. Seems like every one of these albums has at least 2 classics on it that everybody's heard. I did have some skippers on this one. I didn't care for Uncle Salty. It's just a little goofy, and it just didn't work for me. And Big 10-Inch Record is a remake that they did. I just wish that they would have rocked it up a bit instead of just doing it how the original was. I just did not care for that particular song. So overall, I have this as a B-. I have this at number 6 out of the 14 albums. It's still a decent album for me, but just with a couple misses, I thought there. As usual, there's the classics on here and a couple of their most popular songs. But I did still like the album overall. I just didn't have it quite as high as the last one. So what did you think, Steve, of Toys in the Attic?
I like this one. I really enjoyed. I like the deep tracks on this one. I like Uncle Salty, actually. I think it's different. It's probably the differentness of it kind of harkens back to the first album, but good and produced better and sung better. And I absolutely love Adam's Apple when he does that "Scream That Love at First Bite." When he does that toward the end of the song, I have to hit the back bar a couple times. Every time I hear that, I just think it's fantastic. Sweet Emotion is great. Even the other deep tracks, No More, Round and Round is really good. Walk This Way, another one that you could go the rest of your life without hearing again, but still good. And what I've been trying to do lately is when we're doing episodes on Powder Than Hell, and for this also, I try to just take myself back to, not now, songs that I've heard a billion times. Try to take myself back to that mindset where, okay, this is the first time I'm listening to it, or I've only had it for a little while. But very good. And Walk This Way was a different kind of song.
Yeah, there's no way you didn't like that song when you first heard it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, that one's just got to grab you.
Yeah, and in the title track, just that time change at the end where it just rocks. You could tell that they're hitting a groove here, and they're really starting to come into their own. And I have this one at number 2, and I give this one an A.
All right. Yeah, we have a kind of a rule on TwoBobsCast that we don't penalize bands for having a song that's so awesome that we're sick and tired of hearing it. So
it's not their fault that they wrote such a great song. You know what I mean? Right. So they're not the ones making you listen to it a billion times. So
So
we try not to hold them responsible. I know it's hard because there are some where I'm like, oh, if I go the rest of my life and never hear that again, I'm fine. But I try not to punish them for that.
Yeah, and there's a difference for me, obviously, between the song on the first album that I don't even want to talk about anymore, where they overplayed that one. I don't like it, but Walk This Way, to me, that's one I like that is overplayed. So that one was penalized. This one's not penalized.
I actually like the version of it later better, but
do you really?
Yeah,
the Run DMC version.
Yes,
I'm the opposite.
do. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. I know that's going to get me in trouble later, but
it's okay.
That version saved their ass.
It did. And I'm going to talk about that later. It absolutely did. And God, I love it. It's so good.
All right. Toys in the Attic. So with me, my little story to go with this is, so Aerosmith is my father's favorite band. And I just recently lost him this year. So rest in peace, Dad.
Sorry to hear that.
Thank you. So it kind of, and I told Mr. H, I said, I'm not a huge fan of Aerosmith. Like, I like them. I like a lot of their stuff, but I was going to use his spirit to get me through this listening exercise for me. And Toys in the Attic was the album that he played nonstop all the time on vinyl. Then he bought it on cassette. Then he bought it on CD. So I still have all his copies uh, on vinyl and see. I have all his original copies. So I didn't even know who Aerosmith was or what they were doing when I heard this. I just knew the songs. I just knew 1 to 9 that I loved every song on this album, and I would never think of skipping any of them. And then later on, of course, you hear the newer version of the Aerosmith catalog, and you're like, oh, that's Aerosmith. And then you go back, you're like, that was Aerosmith too. That album I listened to 5 million times as a little kid. So Toys in the Attic for me was ingrained in me from basically 3 years old. Like I heard the songs. I didn't know what a band was. I didn't know what I was listening to, but I was listening to Toys in the Attic. Just that riff right off the rip on Toys in the Attic, it gives me goosebumps. The just awesome. It's like hard rock. It's really really cool. I like Uncle Salty, Adam's Apple. I just every song on here. This is an easy number one for me. I totally agree with John. Easy number one, and it's partially because it's so awesome, and partially just because it's ingrained in me. It's just I've known this basically since I'm able to talk. This album is I know every bit of it by heart, every note, every lyric, everything. So easy for me. This is an A plus, number one. I'm glad to see that there's other people like John out there that agree that this is their best, because you kind of feel biased sometimes. Like, well, my experience in life led me to love this album more than anything else they've done. But I guess it is an album that a lot of people put at least in their top 2 or 3.
Oh
So,
yeah, there's so many people have this at number one.
Yeah,
So I read a
absolutely
lot
love
of
it. Yeah, so absolutely love it. A plus and number one for me. Toys in the Attic.
Nice. I love too the little story that I read that Tom Hamilton actually wrote the whole beginning riff for Sweet Emotion on bass, and like he had this in his back pocket for years, and they did one more song they said for this album, and he's like I have this, and everybody was like, wait, what? You have what? So he kind of showed him what he was doing, and I think he wrote it on guitar even, and he kind of showed the other guys what he was doing there, and then they started playing, and then it became a huge hit for them. So that's another cool little story on how that came about. But anyway, yeah, everybody seems to really like that album. I don't have it that low in my rankings either. I just didn't like it quite as much as Get Your. But
yeah,
on to the next album, Rocks. May 3rd, 1976. 9 songs on this album. Jack Douglas once again. Many huge artists I was reading point to this as an influence for them or changed their lives. Kurt Cobain, James Hetfield, Nikki Sixx. Slash tells a great story about trying to date a girl older than him, and he kept trying and trying. He finally got alone with her, and she had this album, and she put it on while they were alone in her apartment. And he said they listened to it about 6 times, and he was mesmerized, and he left on his bike without ever doing anything with her because he was just so inspired by the album. What a great story that is. Joe Perry said it was intended to re-identify them as America's ultimate garage band. This album is made, there it is, nice with the 5 diamonds on the cover, the Rocks. Perry, he wanted to invent them as ultimate garage band, and this album has made many lists of the greatest 500 albums. My favorite songs on here are Back in the Saddle. This is so quintessential Aerosmith. Last Child I liked a lot. Combination, Nobody's Fault, another song. It was a great cover and thrown in on the New Order album by Testament. Fantastic cover. My Skippers is just left blank. I didn't even write the word none in here because I liked every song on this one. I love this album. This got a B plus, A minus. I was kind of in between the two. This is number 2 for me out of 14. This is the best one for me so far of the album so far. And I listened to them in order. So when I got to this one, I'm like, wow, this is an album. I'd never listened to the whole thing. And this is so much better than I ever thought that it would be. It's got a great rock feel to it. You can hear why this is an influencer for many bands to come in the early to mid 80s. It has some of the sounds in that you'll hear from them later and a lot of other bands, Rat, you're going to hear a lot of that stuff in the 80s that started pretty much kind of here with these guys. This is an album that I thought was really ahead of its time. So I have this at number 2 as a B+. What did you think of Rock, Steve?
Fantastic album. They are absolutely in their groove right now. They're tight. The songwriting is getting better as we go along. The guitar playing. I've always enjoyed this album. It has my favorite Aerosmith song on this album, "Rats in the Cellar." That song is just a jam. It just is kick ass. And I just want to say hello to my buddy Rob Karkukangas. Hi, Canada Rob, buddy. He's one of our group that goes on the Monsters Rock Cruise.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Welcome, Rob.
Yep. And hey, Brian too. I didn't mean to not say hello to him as well. But I've always enjoyed this album. The only reason it ended up where it is because it does have a skipper on it for me. Home Tonight. That one I can't do. But in Last Child, it was always a great song, and the soloing in that is fantastic. And what makes it even better, that's Brad Whitford playing that soloing in that song.
Mm-hmm.
We saw him, Whitford Holmes, on one of the Kiss cruises, and Brad tells this story that people were like really excited about the soloing on Last Child, and it was, that's not Joe Perry, that's me.
Yeah.
And they played it, and super nice guy. He's the only person in Aerosmith they ever got to meet and talk to.
Awesome.
Super nice guy. And but like even just the deeper tracks on there, "Sick as a Dog," "Nobody's Fault" is great. A lot of bands cover that, like you said. Testament
Fantastic
covers that, just absolutely great. And that's a thing for a sign of a great song where a thrash band can cover.
Yes.
It's great.
Yeah.
And, Vince Neil has that on one of his solo albums, and it's really not great because Vince is singing it, but
Right.
usually just great. But that's a staple of a great song that it can be covered by a bunch of different genres, and it's still a fantastic song. So this is a great one. I give this one an A also, and this one comes in at number 4 for me.
All right. Love some Rocks also myself. Phenomenal. And he doesn't get a lot of credit, but Tom Hamilton's bass playing on this is freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Just the back in the saddle bass little thing he does in between. So badass. I love Back in the Saddle. Last Child. I love the Toys in the Attic, Rats in the Cellar. I love the
right.
kind of like the light and dark of that. That's super cool. Totally agree with Steve on that. Rats in the Cellar is such a bomb ass song. Totally love it. I agree also. Home Tonight is by far the weakest part of the album, probably the weakest part of the last 3 albums, ultimately. But it's a great album. If it wasn't for how Toys in the Attic has rung with me, this one would be right there. But it's number 2 for me, and it's an A-. Just that last song is kind of giving it that minus for me, but those first 8 songs are really, really good. You mentioned Brad Wood playing lead guitar. He played leads on a lot of tracks on this, I think, too. I think he played some solos in Back in the Saddle also. Just awesome work. This band is on fire right now, obviously, and it sucks that they're going to run out of gas pretty soon, but they were just firing on all cylinders right now. This album truly does rock. So Rocks number 2 and an A- for me.
All right, so on to Draw the Line. So this is December 9th, 1977, 9 songs. Jack Douglas produced again. Steve, there it is. The caricature cover. Joe Perry and Steven Tyler admit they didn't write much of this due to them partying all the time, which is this is the beginning of their kind of downfall with the drugs and alcohol and basically things coming apart at the seams for them, which is because, man, they were really in a groove those last couple albums here. So it kind of feels like the vocals are a bit faded back for me on this too. It can't be heard as well as on previous albums. Everything sounds kind of less clear. I don't know if that's kind of more due to the way Steven was trying to sing them, or if it was just a production thing, but it just doesn't sound as good. Steven Tyler said Perry had a sick riff on a 6-string bass. It was so definitive that that the one song just kind of wrote itself. That was pretty good. So Draw the Line are my favorites, or Draw the Line, Kings and Queens. I love the feel of that one. I love the banjo in there. Like that's kind of a thing for me. Like I love it when a hard rock band kind of fits a banjo in there and it kind of just in the background. I don't know what it is about that, but I just like that in there. I'm like, hey, is that a banjo? It sounds great. I like The Hand That Feeds. I don't have any skippers on here, but I feel like this is a bit of a step back without much in the way of kind of standout tracks for me on this one. It's still listenable though, and I did enjoy it mostly, but the crappy production-ish, like I don't know what's going on there, kind of held it back too, but it's just not quite up to the level of the other ones. But I have this as a C+, and I have this at number 8. What did you think of Draw Line, Steve?
You hit the nail on the head. It's a dip in songwriting, production, and like you said, the vocals seem a little lower. I don't hate this album; it's good. I just want a little spoiler. I don't hate any of these albums, by the way. Like everything else, you're going to like ones more than like the other.
Sure.
The artwork is interesting. It's kind of cool that they're like you could get that done on the boardwalk.
Yeah,
with you and your family. Like the title track is fantastic. I think the title track is great. There's some good tracks on here. Kings and Queens is good. I think the best version of that one is on Classics Live 2, maybe it's on, I think. Hand That Feeds, Sight for Sore Eyes. I really like Milk Call Blues. There's a version of that. It's on YouTube when they played the Texas Jam in 79 or something like that. And they do that, and Ted Nugent comes up on stage and plays with them.
Huh.
Really cool version. But this is like that tour, so you could tell they're messed up. You look at Steven Tyler and Joe Perry during that show, and like, how are these guys standing, let alone playing? But you can, and like you said, like this is when all the accumulated partying and everything started to catch up with these guys. But still a good album, but it does drop off and like all those things we kind of talked about. But I give it a C also, and I have this one at number 10.
The song that I mentioned that Joe kind of wrote on a 6-string bass was Draw the Line. I didn't have that in my notes here. I couldn't remember which one it was, but I looked it up. That Steven Tyler said the song pretty much kind of wrote itself because he wrote this sick riff in there. So anyway, just want to throw that in there. What'd you think, Herd?
Yeah, Draw the Line. It's a tough one for me because I like the songs, but the mix to me, it sounds like chaos. Like it sounds super chaotic. Like nobody had any clue what they wanted to do with how the record sounded. I think there's great songs in here, like really, really great songs. So Draw the Line, you guys mentioned, awesome. Get It Up, I think it's awesome. Kings and Queens, really good. Hand That Feeds. There's a lot of great songs on here, but it doesn't sound good. So
no, it doesn't.
Like to my ears, it doesn't make sense. And you guys explained it. I mean, obviously, in their head, maybe they think it sounds good, and maybe that in your head is a bad place to be at this moment of your life, which is probably the case. But it's just I feel like this is like one of those albums that could really use a good re-recording. I don't know if they could do it anymore, but at one point, maybe go back and re-record these songs. So I really think there's good stuff in here, and it's a kind of a shame that we didn't get the best versions of these songs. But the strength of the songs, it moves us to number 6 for me, and I actually had this as a C+ also, but I think I had it substantially higher than you guys, at least a few spots. I just love the songs, and I come back to a lot of these. I just wish they sounded better. That would have probably knocked it up a few spots for me. So Draw the Line, number 6, C+ for me.
All right. Yeah, I had it at 8. So we're in C+. So we're pretty much in the same spot there. Yeah, we all had it pretty close together, actually. Steve had it. Night in the Ruts. November 16th. There it is. 1979. Gary Lyons was brought in by the label to replace Jack Douglas after he and the band hit a rough patch after he divorced from his wife, Jack Douglas did, and this is somebody who the band really liked. So I guess weak sales from Draw the Line also kind of led to the move, from what I was reading. This album, another one, it was kind of hampered by rampant drug use. Joe Perry, this is a good story. Joe Perry left the band midway through recording, and midway through recording, they were also forced to tour to kind of make some money to help record this, pay for the recording of this album. And they had Joe Perry and Steven Tyler had a heated fight right here at the World Series of Rock in Cleveland, Ohio, at the old Municipal Stadium, where they got in a huge fight, and Joe Perry left, and that was it for him for a while. Jimmy Crespo ended up replacing Joe Perry until 1984. With that, the album was still unfinished that they were sent out on that tour. So, and then it all culminated here in Cleveland. My favorites on this one are No Surprise. Chiquita has some cool guitar parts in there. Remember, I like Bone to Bone, more great guitar work in there. There's really no skippers. It's all kind of surprisingly decent. I actually like this one a little bit more than Draw the Line. Just overall, I have this as a C+. I have this at number 7, so just one spot ahead. I like this more than I thought I would, considering what was going on with the band. This is a surprisingly decent album for me. It's a bit on the heavier side, which I like too. Nothing really stands out as really a great track, but I will come back and listen to this more later, I think, because I like the heaviness of this one, and I liked the overall kind of sound that they had on this one. So I have this at C+, number 7. What did you think of Night in the Ruts, Steve?
Not bad. I think the production's better on this one than than Draw the Line for sure. It's got a lot more crisp production. I like the songs on here. A couple of skippers for me on it. Kind of brings it down a little bit for me. But I love No Surprise. It's absolutely fantastic. Mm-hmm. It's got a great groove to it. Bone to Bone, Coney Island Fish Boy, real good track. Cheesecake's actually kind of cool. It's got a little different kind of feel to it, I think, in there. And 3 Mile Smile, I could live without. Mia, I could live without. Remember Walking in the Sand. Like, those are the ones that kind of bring it down for me. So I have this one. I have this one at number 7, and I give this one a C+.
That's exactly what my rating was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So first one here that I don't agree. I didn't get this.
What's wrong with you, man? You're crazy.
There's a lot of stuff wrong. You have time, because I can get into all the things I have wrong. But
name 3.
All right, I'll name 3. Remember Walking in the Sand, Mia, and their Yardbirds cover. Think About It. Those are my 3 problems. Okay. Not a huge fan of Night in the Ruts. I do agree. I do think it sounds better, but I think there's a drop off in songwriting. For me personally, like this part of Aerosmith is actually almost I would say overall the weakest for me. These couple albums coming up just really didn't connect with me. No Surprise is a phenomenal song, but I think after that, everything else doesn't really do it for me. Few good, there's some good guitar here and there, but songs as a whole, just not really a fan of. This one dropped all the way to number 11 for me and is a C. Again, I agree with Steve. There's not really a whole lot that I totally dislike of theirs. I could put this album on and listen to it, and I wouldn't be disappointed. But it's number 11. I just think there's a lot of stuff that they do that the songs are better. But, production getting better, that's good. But unfortunately, they're hitting a road here where I just don't think they're at their most cohesive with writing songs. So dropped a little bit for me. Number 11, a C for Night in the Ruts.
All right, so on to Rock in a Hard Place. So now we get to there it is. We get to a few more years in between albums here. This is 1982, August 27th, 10 songs. Jack Douglas again is back. Steven Tyler was involved somehow in producing this. And a guy named Tony Bon Jovi, the cousin of John Bon Jovi, was involved in producing this. Bradford left in 1981, in between, replaced by Rick Dufay after the album was done. More problems with Tyler's drug abuse increasing here as well. The new guitarist, Dufay and Douglas, basically said that they had to nurse Steven. There they are. They had to nurse Steven Tyler back to health over the course of 2 to 3 months to get him off the hard stuff. Dufay said that he even had to wipe his ass for him, that he was really, really in bad shape. I'm like, man, can you imagine? Like this guy that I don't know how well he even knows him at this point, but man, he's out there wiping a dude's ass trying to help him out. But this really suffers from missing half of the main songwriting duo, with Joe Perry being gone. The songs are okay, but not nearly as good as past material, even as on the last album, in my opinion. My favorites are "Rockin' a Hard Place" is decent. Jig Is Up has a catchy, groovy blues feel that sounds similar to kind of late '80s Aerosmith, even, but just not done nearly as well. Skippers are Joni's Butterfly is kind of all over the place and not very good. Push Comes to Shove, I'm not really sure what that is. I have this as a C minus. I had this at number 12. Some of it's okay, but most of this is pretty forgettable, and I probably won't come back to this album. I don't think I ever really listened to the whole thing, and I probably won't ever do it again. What did you think of Rockin' a Hard Place, Steve?
Yeah, I remember when this one came out, we were like, well, like Joe Perry's not in Aerosmith anymore. Like, what's, because like back then, 79, I'm 11 years old. So you're not really, hearing about stuff of, guys leaving bands, it's kind of something we're not at that age. I'm not, looking into and stuff like that. But like, you knew those two names, and then like one of the main guys isn't there. So we picked the album up, and like, Jailbait was like, okay, starts out, all right. Lightning Strikes, killer. One of my favorite Aerosmith songs. Absolutely freaking love it. And then it's like, what happened? It didn't take a total nosedive, but like those first two songs are up here, and the rest are kind of here. There was no, not a lot of middle ground on this album for me. Like Cry Me a River is horrible. Prelude to Joni, like you said, is like, what is this? Rockin' a Hard Place, Cheshire Cat's not bad. I think there's two great songs and a couple duds and a couple that are just okay on this one for me. The cover's pretty cool though. Different, a little colorful for these guys for what they've been putting out album cover wise. Not a great one for me. I have this one also at a C minus, and I have this at number 11. Turn it down to 11.
Yeah, see, this one again, like I kind of talked about in the last one. These are all kind of in the same area for me. This one just a little bit higher than the last one, just because you hit it, Steve. Those two phenomenal songs at the beginning, Jailbait and Lightning Strikes, to me make this a better album. And it shouldn't be two songs over one amazing song on the last album, but two songs just pushes it a little bit further. I agree with Mr. H. I do like The Jig Is Up, is pretty good. But so two killer songs and one okay song. The rest is not great. But it's number 10 for me, also in the C range. Just this is the era of Aerosmith I'm just not super interested in. Probably will never come back to the last one, this one, and then the next one. I'll just probably never ever come back to it. Just not a fan. The songs even aren't really that memorable after Lightning Strikes and Jailbait. So Rockin' a Hard Place, number 10, C for me.
All right. On to Done with Mirrors, November 4th, 1985. 9 songs here. It's like they tried to change it up here. They tried to get in line with some of the stuff that was going on in the mid 80s here. They got Ted Templeman in. Done with Mirrors. There it is, written backwards, so you can read it in the mirror.
Yep.
Ted Templeman of Van Halen fame produced. He was a real hot guy at the time, obviously. He even said that he felt he didn't make the drums or guitar sound as good as they could have, but that he wasn't familiar with the equipment that they were forced to record in Berkeley to try to keep the guys away from scoring drugs, as they're sober now. Joe Perry's back, Whitford's back, so they came back in '84. So they were recording in a studio Ted Temple wasn't familiar with, and he didn't feel like he got the best recording laid down for them. But this is the first album on Geffen Records too. This intended to be their comeback, but it didn't do very well commercially. Their real comeback seems to kind of start on the next album. But they reworked Joe Perry Project song. Let the Music Do the Talking was the first single from Joe Perry Project. Perry and Kramer dismissed it as not very inspired, this album, which I kind of agree. It's kind of in this limbo of what they were and kind of what they'd become for me. This is the last album written without the help of outside songwriters, which will make a big difference for them. I do have to mention here, as I mentioned earlier, the 1985 rework of Walk This Way with Run DMC completely revived their career, which seemed to be just kind of left for dead after this album came out. But it got my attention, that's for sure, man. Jam Master Jay with the just awesome stuff, man. I could not get enough of this song. My favorites were Let the Music Do the Talking. That is a really good song. She's on Fire I liked a lot. I did not like Gypsy Boots. It kind of sounds like Steven Tyler was trying to kind of tap into Walk This Way again a little bit. Even some of the lyrics are similar in there, but it just doesn't work as well. I have this as a C, just a middling C. I have this at number 10 out of the 14. It's not terrible, but it doesn't have the polish and memorable songs that be coming up, and it isn't what they were before either. It's just kind of in the middle. So what did you think of Done with Mirrors, Steve?
I absolutely love Done with Mirrors.
Okay.
I personally believe that this for me is their comeback album, because we were extremely disappointed with Rockin' a Hard Place, and welcome back Joe and Brad for sure. Of course, opens up with Let the Music Do the Talking, but that's a song from the Joe Perry Project when he was out of the band that they re-recorded with them. I enjoy this version much better. There's no like hits. They didn't really release anything off of this album. It seems kind of like they were like, oh, all right, Joe Perry and Brad are back. Like, let's just put this album out. You know what I mean? It had no traction at all. And this was the first tour that I got to see Aerosmith on. Ted Nugent opened up for them. I was 86. And actually, I had a high school baseball game that day. I pitched a 2-hitter.
Awesome.
Hopped in my car, dropped in my girlfriend's car. She drove up. I changed out of my uniform into my concert shirt and my jeans on the way up to Binghamton, New York, and saw that show. So, I mean, that has
awesome.
Kind of like a special place in my heart.
Were you 16, 17?
When I saw that, I would have been 18. I
Nice.
was a senior. Yeah.
Nice.
And so it has good memories for me. So are you keeping track of our rankings in that?
Nope.
Because I messed up my ranking here. So when I did Rocks, that should have been number 3. Done with Mirrors should have been number 4.
Okay.
So I have Done with Mirrors at number 4 as A-, just because there's some stuff on there that's not great, but I don't skip anything on this one. There wasn't anything. It's a good solid album, but there was nothing that was really like that they could have put on the radio. There was nothing, that got them any kind of traction with this at all. It was just kind of like, okay, Joe and Brad are back, so let's throw them out on the road, see what sticks. And like for me, it was a comeback album. This is like my Kiss Hot in the Shade. I was away from Aerosmith for a while. Done with Mirrors came out, this brought me back. I was away from Kiss for a while. Hot in the Shade came out, that brought me back. So
I love Hot in the Shade.
I do too.
Love that album.
Yes,
I love it.
So that's where that sits for me. So that's going to be number 4 for me. And like I said, Rocks is going to be number 3. So A-.
Nice comment from John here too. The 15-year-old me really liked this album. 54-year-old me, not so much. That's kind of funny.
It didn't age great. I will throw that out there for sure. Good. That is a good point, John.
Yeah, and I think I'll agree with John. I think to defend my ranking with Steve, because I have never listened to any of this before. I've never heard a song of it until this week when I did my listening. So to me, it's a one listen go for this, and it just nothing really grabbed me. Nothing really, to me, the songs just, after I was done and I moved on to Permanent Vacation, I almost forgot what I had listened to. Like nothing really stuck with me with a one listen. So yeah, for me, For me, it's number
John
12.
bumped it up 2 spots just thanks to Steve's story.
There you
That's
go.
awesome.
All right.
I love it.
Yeah, I can't do that. I already made my rankings, or I would.
Yeah,
bump
he's
it up.
written it. He wrote it in pen. Can't
I
change
wrote it in pen. I
Yep.
can't see. I got a pen. I can't change
change
it
it.
now.
Not coming out.
It's number 12 for me, in a C. Again, it's still a C. Everything is a C. It's not bad. I was not horrified by it and was bored or turned off. It was good. It's rock and roll music. Just I guess the songs just weren't memorable to me, and I think that's the whole thing with Done with Mirrors. So just it just didn't really move the dial either way for me. So it fell behind where albums that I just knew I loved a couple songs from. So those kind of got the benefit of the doubt here over Done with Mirrors. The Kiss album that I really like that maybe not everybody else likes is Revenge.
I knew
Revenge.
it. I knew it. Because
I
it's
love
heavy.
Revenge. It's awesome. I
It's a
love
little
it.
overrated.
I love it. I love
knew
it.
he was going to say that.
That's other than the classic Kiss.
John
album.
really likes that one too. John
Yeah.
Novak really likes Revenge too.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like Destroyer, like those are the best. But Revenge is one that I went back to a lot. Just randomly. Anyway, we'll do a Kiss episode later on down the road, I'm sure. So we'll.
Oh yeah, I think it's coming up later, and when we get to K, we'll be doing Kiss. I think in 2 parts, so we'll definitely have Steve on for that one too.
All right.
We got to have a Kiss expert on for that.
Absolutely.
I don't know about expert, but
Well, you're
expert
closer than we are.
long time fan, I'll say.
Yeah,
Okay.
good. All right, on to Permanent Vacation, August 25th, 1987, 12 songs. There it is. This is Bruce Fairbairn produced. A lot of songwriting help here from Jim Valance, who wrote a lot of songs with Bryan Adams, and songwriter Hall of Fame member Desmond Child, who didn't use this guy in the 80s. Pretty much everybody did.
Everybody did, yeah.
This is kind of considered their true comeback, at least commercially anyway. And I was wondering, if they put that Run DMC version of Walk This Way on Done with Mirrors, how many more copies would that have sold? And how many more listens would those other songs have gotten? I wonder how much more popular that album might have been had they put that on there just because of the popularity of it, So I don't know. It just kind of hit me when you were talking about it that they didn't get much traction. I'm like, man, if they had just put that on there, man, crazy. Anyway, this album sold over 5 million copies. It must have been a slow starter though, since they released Hangman's Jury first, which I was kind of surprised that was the first release off of this one. But I like Magic Touch a lot. I like Ragdoll. I like Dude Looks Like a Lady's a good song. It's just so catchy. It's kind of a dumb lyrically song, but it hasn't aged well. Or actually, it's probably aged better now. That's a lot more accepted. But anyway, I like that song. I did not like Girl Keeps Coming Apart. I'm Down, even though I'm Down's only 2 minutes and 20 seconds long, so it's not really it's not really worth skipping. It's so short. And the movie, the last song on here, I don't know what that is. I just wrote WTF on here because I don't know what that song is about or what's going on there. I have this rated as a B. I have this number 3. I really like a few songs. Some are okay, and there's a couple I don't like, but it's too long a little bit, I think, also. But if you chop out the movie for me and maybe one other song, maybe I'm Down, this becomes like a B+ or A- for me, because I do really like the rest of it. So there are songs, Angel, which, I could probably go without hearing. But again, I don't want to punish him for that. It was a great song, and, it got real popular. So, but anyway, I have this as a B. I have this at number 3. What did you think of Permanent Vacation, Steve?
I really enjoy this album. I think it's a good one. It's a quantum leap in production over the last album, and it is actually going back to Don't Mirrors for a second. Like the Ted Templeman produced that album is like it's probably the worst album that he's produced that I could think of. And but anyway, but the production on this one with Bruce Fairbairn, and you have the co-writers they were really seemed like they were okay. We're going to put some money back into these guys. I got to see them on this tour. Guns N' Roses opened up for them, and it was the first show that Guns N' Roses played after they had the People Crushed to Death at Donington Monsters of Rock in England. And they literally stopped the show, Guns N' Roses, like middle of the first song, stopped the show, walked off the stage, so everybody's like moved back, so no one else got
Wow.
hurt. And
Where
actually,
was that show at? Was that in New York?
No, Pocono Downs in
Okay.
Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And actually, if you watch the Paradise City video, there's footage from that show in the Paradise City video.
Nice.
Anyway, but I think this album's fantastic. I love Hearts Done Time. I think it's a fantastic album opener. And you got the whale sounds at the beginning there that I think is cool. Magic Touch is great. Ragdoll. Dude Looks Like a Lady. One of them songs I heard a million times, but I don't dislike that because of that. It's one that is always good for me. Hey Man Jerry, yeah, that was an odd one to put out.
Yeah,
Getting
just
like
weird.
if you want to sell
Considering
this
the
album,
hits
that's
that
not
they
the song.
had, you know?
Yeah, that's not the song to put out if you want to sell
Right.
this album. It's a good song, but it's not. It's not. I don't even think it's single worthy at all, let alone first single.
Yeah.
Girl Keeps Coming Apart is cool. Angel, I never liked Angels. That song never resonated with me. But I'm down. It's a Beatles cover, and I am not a Beatles guy. I think it's quick. It's fast. It's not bad. They do it well. In the movie, the movie's like kind of like, I don't know. Is that like where the credits run at the end of the album, where that's playing out or something? I don't know. But that was kind of maybe just to take up some more time on the album because who knows. But I have this as a number 5, and I have this as an A.
All right. John Novak, he did throw in Revenge, hell yeah. So I like him for that. We could talk about some Unholy.
You don't like him otherwise, just for that?
No, well, I was just gonna say he also said that this is their last great album, which is wrong. So we can be right and we can be wrong. That just proves.
Oh, nice.
Permanent Vacation is a really good album, but it is not their last great album. I think that's coming up here very shortly. Permanent Vacation, I think you guys have nailed it. I actually like more the deep cuts on here than I like the singles. I think Ragdoll's really good, but I never really was a fan of Dude Looks Like a Lady. Angel, I think is awful. I literally can't do that. Hearts Done Time, Magic Touch, really, really good. It's a really solid album. I think I think the singles kind of hurt it for me, which is unlike the next two albums, which I think a lot of the singles kind of help it out a little bit. But Permanent Vacation for me lands at number 7 and a C+. So I don't dislike it. I think it's strong, but I still think there's some strong albums coming after this. So we'll see how that goes. But Permanent Vacation for me, number 7 ranked and a C+. Just no on the Angel. Oh,
Bob's not into the ballads, man.
I like some of the ballads, but Dream On and Angel are just like two of my. It's just cringe, like really cringy. Yeah, like I can't do it.
All right, so on from that, so Bob doesn't hurt his ears anymore. We're gonna move on to Pump. So September 12th, 1989, 10 songs on here. Bruce Fairbairn again. Brad Whitford said, "Now that we're off drugs, we're all pumped up." So that's where the album title came from.
Is that where it comes from?
That's what he said.
Because from the album cover, which is pretty cool, it looks like something different is happening on that.
Yeah. There's some action going on there. So, yeah. Anyway, there's some trucks getting it on, making little trucks.
Right.
All right. So, My Girl and Don't Get Mad bring it down a bit in the second half. But after the hoodoo part of Voodoo Medicine Man, that song's classic Aerosmith, and What It Takes is great. Like, there's some accordion in there, which is fantastic. I love that they really do a lot with they do some good stuff with horns and other instruments on their albums. They really add it in there in the right places and accent it. Some bands I think they overdo it with trying to add too much stuff, but Aerosmith isn't one of them. They do some good stuff in there. Love in an Elevator, shockingly to me, I could not believe it's the first number 1 song for Aerosmith. I could not believe that that's their first number 1 song. My favorites on this one are Young Lust. It's an album opener. It's a great song. I love Loving an Elevator. The guitar work is spectacular in there. I love the harmony at the end with all 5 guys singing. It just sounds amazing. I wish they did more of that, honestly. I like Janie's Got a Gun, so I like the Other Side. I like What It Takes. This is just an all around solid album. I know those are all the hits, but there's all kinds of great stuff all over this album. So Monkey on My Back. Like I didn't want to name them all, but I really really like this album. This is an A for me. This is number 1 for me. The musicianship, the production, where I can hear every little detail, even on Spotify on my $10 work headset. I can hear every single thing that's going on in this album. The hooks, just everything about it is such good stuff here. The only maybe a song and a half I'd even consider skipping that I don't like. So kind of brings it down from like an A+ to an A-, but this is still number 1 for me. I really like Pump. What did you think of Pump, Steve?
All right. Well, I'm out of vinyl, so I couldn't show that one.
Wow. Well, what is that?
I'm
How
out.
many albums was that in a row that you had the vinyl?
He had a lot.
9 albums in a row. That's very impressive.
Yeah. So the other ones I didn't have. Actually, I had Pump ordered, but it got lost in the mail. I never got it. And I want to say right now,
is that a good thing for you?
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Drum
You never know. And the thing is, too, I'm looking at my rankings now, and I'm like, I really super had my head up my ass when I was doing these because, and then I'll get into it in a minute. But Pump, and this was one where by this time you're inundated in bands. You are just crushed with, Whitesnake and LA Guns, and everybody's out. You're just getting, and I think that's one of the main reasons that this stuff took a nosedive in a couple of years after this. So I didn't really have, I had the cassette, but I didn't, for some reason, I didn't play it a lot. But then going back listening to it and talking about it tonight, there's some really, really good stuff on here. Young Lust is a great opener. I like Fine. Fine.
Yep.
Did I just spell that and say it? I did.
You did. You said it.
You did. And he does it in a different song later, which is kind of weird. But.
Yeah. He does. But like that, Love in an Elevator, that song, I hate the radio edit of it. You don't get that awesome part in the middle. Or they just get that that thumping part is absolutely fantastic in there. Ton of videos from this album. Janie's Got a Gun was like a crazy video, and I think What It Takes is one of their best ballads.
Yes,
and Get Rid of Angel, Get Rid of Dream On, Give Me What It Takes any day. I'm gonna leave my I'm gonna put this at a B+. And I'm going to go at number 6.
All right. I got a man-sized predicament, and it's a big one.
Big one.
Sorry, John Novak. I just gotta you just keep pulling me back to revenge. I can't help it. Pump is awesome. I don't know how Permanent Vacation is their last great album when Pump is even better. So that's an interesting take. But this album, and you guys mentioned it, sounds like crystal clear.
Oh, it sounds amazing.
Unreal. And I have it on CD. That's what my dad passed on to me was the CD version. I never heard this on vinyl, but just cranking it up on CD, it's crystal clear.
So good.
I love Monkey on My Back. I love every song on here except maybe My Girl, which I think Mr. H, you agreed with that.
I did.
That's probably the weak spot of the album for me, but I agree with you guys. I told you I'm not just a ballad hater. I love what it takes. It's fantastic. It's such a good song. Like you take Tyler seriously. Finally, he's writing a song about a love song, and I'm buying it. Like I'm like, all right, man. Like I get it. Tell me what it takes to let you go. I don't know. I don't know why. Young Lust.
His voice sounds amazing on there too.
Yeah.
What it takes.
Yeah.
I mean, he's hitting all the notes all over the place. It's so good.
I love Janie's Got a Gun. The Other Side is probably a top Aerosmith song for me. I love it. Other than those 3 classics that they put right at the beginning, this is my favorite after that. So this is a B plus, number 4. To me, you can't beat Toys in the Attic, Rocks, and Get Your Wings back to back to back there. But after that, like, this is what I want to listen to. Like, this is good, current, well produced, good songs. You'll always remember these. They'll stick in your head forever. You know, when somebody says Aerosmith, I always think of one of these songs first. You know, I always think of What It Takes or JD's Got a Gun or Other Side or Love in an Elevator. Like, this is my jam. This is what I like. So number 4, B plus for Pump.
Awesome. And Steve brought up just a fantastic point about the flooding of bands at this point. This album for me got lost. Like, I would have never ranked this anywhere near. I would not have said this album is anywhere near as good as I say that it is right now back in 1989, because I was like, okay, Aerosmith is okay. I see him on MTV all the time, but I was listening to so many different things at the time. It just got lost. Like, Aerosmith I thought was like old to me. Like, I'm listening to all these younger, newer bands popping up left and right. I'm buying every new thing I can find, trying to find the next band that I want to really get into. And this one just kind of got lost because I already knew, like, Aerosmith. I see the videos, I already knew. But listening to it like this week, man, I have such a new appreciation for that album. I really do. So anyway, that's a great point by you. All the stuff.
John did give this.
Oh man, it was just
love
man.
heard. Yep.
Oh boy, you guys, you get a room. Anyway, on to Get a Grip. April 20th, 1993. 14 songs. Really, 14 songs, huh?
Yeah, that's what they're
All
going
right,
with.
so I guess there's a stupid intro and there's an instrumental in there, but more not veiled themes on the cover of this one. Good thing that Heard changed background. You should have seen it earlier. Steve brought it to his attention. Basically, his mic was covered in white fur and it was going straight into his mouth, and it did not look good. So he changed it, but it was fantastic. So anyway, this is Bruce Fairbairn again. There's some up-tempo stuff on here on the first half with Eat the Rich, Get a Grip, and Fever. Not really great songs for me, but I like the attempt. Kind of like Young Lust was on Pump. I'm not crazy about Crazy, though it's one of their most popular songs with 500 million plays on Spotify. Still lots of the same songwriting partners, plus other people. I did like Eat the Rich. I like Living on the Edge a lot. That's one of my favorite Aerosmith songs. I like that song a lot. It has to get going for me, but it's just, I don't know why it's such an earworm. Like, I'll listen to Living on the Edge and like 3 days later, I'll just wake up in the morning and I'm just like, Living on the Edge. I just can't get it out of my head. So
Yep.
There's a lot of good harmony in there too. Crying's a good ballad too. Amazing's really good. Heard mentioned before we started, it's Don Henley's on there. He just sounds absolutely great with Steven Tyler on there. Really nice guitar work at the end too on Amazing. Skippers, I have Flesh, Shut Up and Dance, Gotta Love It. Trying to do some kind of funk that just doesn't really work there for me. But still, I like this album. It's not as good as a couple of the other ones, but I like most of it. I have this as a B. I have it number 5. There's a couple too many tracks on it, I think, though. They tried to fit a little too much in here. But what did you think of Get a Grip, Steve?
Yeah, I think for me, anything over like 45 minutes for an Aerosmith album is a little too much.
Yep.
You're in the CD age, so they're trying to get give you more for your money if you want, if you will.
Yep.
Trying to stretch the time on some of these albums, and I think they kind of missed on this one. There's some really good stuff on here, like you said. Eat the Rich is good. Fever I really like. Living on the Edge. How about Living on the Edge? That.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah,
I love that. It's fantastic. Walk On Down. I don't get an Aerosmith album to hear Joe Perry sing.
True.
Yeah.
I don't. Not a fan of Crazy or Amazing. I Love It's not bad. Shut Up and Dance is not bad, but this one kind of takes a dip. Especially on the heels of Pump. So I have this as number 9, and I have it as a B minus. The too many songs on this that I just don't go to or would even put on a playlist.
All right. I think I'm right along with Mr. H on this. I do like Get a Grip. I was still pretty young, and my dad picked this album a lot too. And then I mentioned it earlier, right at the beginning, when my buddy Brian hopped on. A few of these songs got me from the Wayne's World. I can't remember if it was Wayne's World 1 or Wayne's World 2. It was 2. Okay. First was Alice Cooper, right? Alice Cooper was We're Not Worthy in the first one. Second one, Aerosmith. A couple songs line up. Shut Up and Dance, I know, was on that soundtrack. Awesome stuff. So I really like this album. It's not, again, I agree with you. Kind of got the Metallica load syndrome here where decided we were going to put 90 minutes of music when we really should have only done half of that. So I agree. Eat the Rich is good. Living on the Edge, I agree with you guys. I do like Shut Up and Dance. Crying is definitely the strongest of the trilogy that they did the videos of, even though I did, as a teenager, have a huge crush on the girl in the video, Elise Silverstone.
Who didn't?
Of Clueless. I mean, she was. I remember when Clueless came out, I went to the theater to see it, knowing damn well I wasn't going to like the movie, but I was going to see her because of the Aerosmith videos. And then, of course, Steven Tyler's daughter, also Liv Tyler, before her acting career got started, was also in those videos as well. So overall, a pretty solid album, though. I like it. Definitely not as much as Pump. It falls right behind. I have it number 5 in a solid B. So Get a Grip is good stuff for me. Not all hits. Again, 14 songs. You're not going to go 14 for 14. I don't think any band ever has. But there's 9 really good songs on here. So definitely a fan of Get a Grip. Not so much a fan of the artwork anymore when I make that as my background. So not the best move on my part, especially all white. Like, what was I thinking?
Yeah. Well, it's not really your fault. It's the way your microphone kind of picks up the background, so it just stuck right out into your face there. That was
fair enough.
Like I said, if that was my guys, I would have let it go and brought it up in the middle of the show.
Let it go. You'd be like, move a little closer to your mic. I can't hear you. Move closer, please. Closer.
You earned some respect from me there, and I don't expect that you're going to give me that courtesy the next time.
So. I was going to say next time may be a different story. So watch your backgrounds.
Yeah, watch out, Destroyer. Yeah, who knows where his face will be on that one. Oh boy,
it don't mean spit to me. Another revenge. Sorry.
Of course. Oh boy. On to 9 Lives. March 18th, 1997. 13 more songs. Kevin Caveman Shirley and the band produced this one. Drummer Joey Kramer dropped out due to depression over losing his dad and was replaced before coming back, and the band ended up re-recording with him after Columbia was not happy with the 9 songs he originally recorded with Glenn Ballard, though 3 of the Glenn Ballard songs are named on the album, as he co-wrote some songs too. I don't like the whole cat theme with Tyler screeching sometimes like a cat. It just sounds really bad and distracting to me. I know, John, you just want to talk about revenge. You and Herd can have a side conversation about that in your own room. A lot. I like revenge too, but God, man, jeez.
I don't want to romance. I don't want to dance. Man. I just want to forget you.
Awesome. A lot of 9 Lives to me feels like lesser versions of previous songs, kind of, where they're still trying to do what they did on the previous 3 albums, but it just falls short for me. Even the ballads on here, which they got pretty good at writing ballads, at least popularity wise. Even the ballads just aren't very good, and they were, like I said, they were pretty successful writing those. My favorites here are Something's Gotta Give. I like this kind of modern rock version of Aerosmith. It doesn't always work for them, but in this case, I like that song a lot. Pink is pretty catchy too, but that's kind of about it for me. Skipper's Crash is a bit of a rocker, but with a punk style that just doesn't fit them. Good effort, I think, but it just doesn't really fit them. I have this as kind of a C minus. It's kind of subpar material that's similar in style and sound to the previous 3 albums, but kind of worn out and just not as good. The different sounding few songs are hit or miss also, but there's only a few of them. But again, it's too long, 62 minutes plus again, so you're over an hour again. Chop 2 or 3 of these out. Fallen Angels, bye. Crash, bye. Taste of India, bye. Get rid of those
Yep.
3 songs, and it kind of makes this a little better album, I think. But it's just overall, it's just not that great. So I have this at number 11 out of 14, and as C minus. What did you think of 9 Lives, Steve?
I was surprised when this one came out. I don't think I was aware of this when it came out, but then I picked it up. 9 Lives I think is cool. I like that at the beginning. I kind of think that's kind of cool. Fallen in Love is Hard on the Knees. I think that's a great song. I love, and Tyler said he's been waiting for years to fit this line in a song. Don't give me no lip. I got enough of my own. He's been waiting forever to put that in a song, and he finally was able to in that one, and I think it fits good. Some stuff on there I don't like. Hole in My Soul I don't like. Taste of India's Full Circle. Something's Got to Give. I think it's a really good song. The Farm, it starts out with that weird falsetto at the beginning. It's not bad. I love Crash. I love that percussion at the end. It's crazy. And how about the video for Pink? Is that like not wild or what? That is, I think every guy in the band got to dress up whatever they fantasized about their whole life and got away with it in that video. There's just some crazy shit in there.
I don't think I've ever seen that video, honestly.
It's good. Check it out.
Check it out. It's wild. Check it out. Not a favorite of mine. It's a little down lower in the pipeline here. I have this at an 8, and I give it a B because the stuff I really like, and the other ones are just not great for me.
Yeah, this actually is a pretty decent album for me. This is the first album, and it shows my age. This is the first album that I bought from Aerosmith because, kind of going off my dad loving these albums, I was out on my own, so I had to go buy it on my own, and was actually pretty impressed. One little story, and I don't know that anybody, I'm sure somebody had, but I used to have a computer at the time with a little disc tray, and I know they don't really do those a whole lot anymore, but I put 9 Lives into my computer desktop, and there was like a little mini game that came with it where it was kind of like Guitar Hero where you clicked all the notes on it to play it. And obviously this is way before Guitar Hero. So to me, I learned this album note for note because of that game where you could play the songs to like a Guitar Hero type game. So I don't know if anybody else has seen that. Leave something in the comments if you also were in that, because I'm interested to know. But I loved it. And not every song hits here. I totally agree with you guys. It's way too long. Not everything on here is good. But I really, really like a lot of these songs. I agree. I like 9 Lives. Falling in Love is Hard on the Knees is really good. I like Hole in My Soul. I think that's a good ballad that they have. Not a great ballad. It's not what it takes, but it's pretty good. Something's Got to Give is awesome. Like I love that line. Does the voice in my head bother you? I love that.
Yes.
Pink is cool. Crash is also good. I think Steve mentioned that one as well. There's like Full Circle to me is kind of cheesy. I don't really like it all that much. Taste of India is a little weird. The last couple songs, Fallen Angels, an 8-minute song. Like I'm good with that. But I agree where it hits. It doesn't all hit, but for me, it's number 9. Number 9 Lives. Brian's saying there was an Offspring album that had secret stuff on it, unadvertised. The same thing. There was an Incubus album that did the same thing as well, where
were they all out at the same time? You think probably like late '90s somewhere in there?
Yeah,
I'd imagine. So.
Yeah, I think so. So they were probably adding things on these discs. So pretty.
I never knew that. I didn't have 9 Lives on CD. I didn't. So I never knew that.
I have it. I have to dig it out. I have a box and a dresser full of old CDs. I gotta see if I still have it. That would be cool to check that out. Though I guess I don't have a computer with a disk drive anymore, so I'd have to find somebody that has one. But
yeah, I don't either.
Yeah, but 9 Lives, number 9 for 9 Lives, and it was a C. Right. Good stuff. I again, when it hit for me. But
since we're kind of past their 2 eras now, their 2 real popular eras, which one did your dad like more? Or did he just like it all?
He liked it all. Aerosmith was his favorite band. And he liked all of it. I mean, he had all those albums early on, and then he bought Pump and he bought Get a Grip. So I know he just loved Joe Perry. He was like it was like his favorite guitar player. his solo and stuff like
I
that.
just
So yeah,
wondered
he
if he
liked it
ever
all.
talked about, that he liked one version more than the other.
Nope, I would always ask him, because obviously my thing was
Yeah.
always, what's your favorite this? What's your favorite that? And
Right.
what's your favorite band? Aerosmith. It was always Aerosmith. So
Hmm.
always loved them. So
I
that
wonder what
was,
his favorite album was. Probably
I
Toys
don't
in the
know.
Attic,
I
I
think
think.
it had to have been Toys in the Attic. I
Yeah,
would
since that's the one you heard all the time and you
all the
remember
time.
that. So,
Yep.
all right, cool. Yeah, because that came out before you were born. So if you heard it a lot, he was still listening to it a lot even
Oh yeah.
later on. So,
Yep.
all right, on to Just Push Play. March 5th, 2001. 12 songs. Mark Hudson, Martin Fredrickson, Steven Tyler, Joe Perry. Yeah, there's some rap rock on here where I know I said earlier that I love the Run DMC version of Walk This Way with Aerosmith, but yeah, I didn't really care for the rap rock stuff. I was just kind of like Aerosmith. I feel like in this case needs to kind of stay in their lane. Of course, this is early 2000s. This stuff was pretty big back then, the rap and metal and stuff. So a lot of bands tried to do that. We kind of pretty much said the same thing about all of them. It just doesn't really work unless that's what they do. So Joe Perry said he thought that he hadn't made a decent album, that they hadn't made a decent album in years, and this is one of his least favorite albums, or this one is his least favorite album. Again, some ballads that I don't think really hit very well on here. My favorites are Beyond Beautiful is a decent album opening rocker. Jaded is good, although no near an Aerosmith sounding song, but I did like the song in general. Skippers or Just Push Play, which is one of those rapish ones. Out of Your Head was another one of those. I have this as a C minus, number 13 out of 14. There's not much memorable here at all for me. A few decent songs, but definitely way down the hill from where they were, and rolling faster and picking up speed the further down the hill they get, I guess. I feel like they're just trying to do a modern rock version of them that just kind of doesn't really work. They totally fit the 80s kind of glam scene. They totally fit that, but not in this kind of alternative modern rock 2000 time. It just doesn't work for them, I feel. So I have this as a C minus, number 13. What did you think of Just Push Play, Steve?
I am on board with Joe Perry. Definitely my least favorite album. This I'll just
Okay.
get the number right away. That ends at 14. It seems forced, this album. It seems like that they're trying to be a modern band, but they're not a modern band. They're Aerosmith.
No. Mhm.
Agreed.
They're kind of trying to, like, they're following. They're not leading anymore. We know that about a bunch of bands.
Yeah.
Right.
But there's not a lot of memorable stuff on this album. Beyond Beautiful is okay. I don't mind Just Push Play. Jaded's boring. Under My Skin, Out of My Head. There's just a lot of forgettable stuff on this album, and it's my least go-to. We do a series on Powder Than Hell. We do worst of the best, and we'll pick what's perceived as their worst album, and we'll review it. And we did this one,
Okay.
and it still holds pretty true for me. So I give this number 14, and I'm going to give it a C minus. They're still Aerosmith. They're not going to get a D from me. So, but I do have to say they were at least still putting music out.
Yeah.
That gets you some points right out for me, because how many bands even by then just said we're not doing anything else.
What I want to know is Joey Kramer and Tom Hamilton actually playing on this album? Because it all sounds like electric drum and bass loops for me.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, you can hear some guitar, and
Great
obviously
point.
you can hear Steven Tyler, but to me, like the whole rhythm section here it sounds like an electronic beat, like a rap song kind of. It just, to me, I have a hard time believing that Joey Kramer sitting there playing this.
Right.
To me, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, he couldn't change his playing style that much over his whole career to what this sounds like. I agree.
Yeah, I don't know. It just, I'm not a fan of this at all.
Unless he
I
wrote
was-
it on a keyboard, maybe. I don't know. Maybe he didn't
Maybe,
really
I mean-
play it. Maybe he wrote it on a computer. I don't know.
Yeah, I would love to actually have an honest conversation with him about this. Like,
Mhm.
made
Well, you
this
got
album.
to figure too. He was the first guy to go on the outs with these guys.
True.
Yeah.
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 So he may have this, just for argument's sake, was this where the fighting with him started? Like what are we doing here? Where's my my sound, my drumming.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, that could have been a bone of contention that kicked that off.
Yeah.
Been doing the same thing for all these years, and now all of a sudden you want me to do what?
Yeah.
I totally agree. I mean, I feel like that's what was eliminated here to try to make it modern was let's get away from the rock drums and let's get away from the rock bass. And to me, that's the big difference here. Like
Yeah.
instead of the rock and roll sound, they went all, I guess, modern pop ish with, and it just doesn't work for me. So I'm with you, John. I wish I could forget this too. I actually don't mind Jaded, but I can't sit and tell you it goes with any of their other stuff. So maybe I like it just because it's
Nothing
just
memorable.
maybe it's right, exactly. There's just nothing on this. Like I just push play. I guess I remember when that came out on the radio / MTV, and I kind of remember that, but otherwise, there's just nothing here. These last two are pretty rough for me, so it was hard for me to pick 13 or 14.
Same.
But I guess I went 13 on this just because of the two recognizable songs. So this is 13, and I'm with you, Steve. I'm not giving these guys a D, but this is a C minus.
Yeah.
Just push play. I'm just going to push stop every time. So not a fan.
Just press stop. I like it. Dream off to just press stop for her. Yep. Nice. All right, so on to the last album, most recent and last. Music from Another Dimension, November 6, 2012. Yeah, 2012. So that's
so long.
11 years, 15 songs, too. Douglas is back, which is, I guess, good, with Martin Fredrickson, though, still, and Tyler and Perry all producing this one. Longest gap, obviously, in between albums is not even close. That's 11 years is forever. It's also their longest album at 68 minutes, which doesn't usually lead to a good thing. There's some stuff reminiscent of Aerosmith past here, and then there's stuff that sounds nothing like them at all. So there's some country stuff in here. Doesn't really work for Aerosmith, I felt like. And I don't hate country music. So, I mean, John knows me. I listen to country also, and somewhat. So it doesn't work for me. Could Have Been Love and Can't Stop Loving You. Those are both just kind of country-ish and didn't really work. It's a pretty forgettable album from a once highly regarded band for me. It's just really disappointing. But it's kind of what happens to most of these bands that are around this long. So they're at it for 40 years at this point, putting out albums 40 plus years together. So my favorites, I guess, are every time I think I'd like a song, something would ruin it. So I don't really have any. But I was like, no, it's not very good. And I'm like, no, I don't. So it's every time I'd get to a point where I thought I'd kind of like a song, and I ended up not liking it. Skipper's beautiful, not really beautiful. And kind of most of the rest of it for me. This was a real hard listen for me. Now, it's funny, you guys said you wouldn't give him a D because it's Aerosmith. I didn't give him a D until this album. I gave him a D plus on this one. 14, there's just not much of note here for me. There's a couple, I guess, decent parts of songs, but nothing I really like in total. And the rest is just skippable, and it's way too long. I guess they just had to get it all out of their system, right? They did the rap thing, they did the country thing, they've done the blues thing, they've done some jazz stuff in there, they have horns. They've kind of done it all at this point, I guess. So I guess they had to get it all out of their system. But this is number 14 for me. These last two just weren't very good for me. What did you think of Music from Another Dimension, Steve?
Do you guys remember when this album came out? Remember they did a big promotion on it, and
I do not.
I want to say they played.
It had to do
live.
with American Idol, I think, though.
Okay.
Because I think Steven started American Idol right around the time they were recording this.
Because they played live in Boston, like on a street. I don't know if it was outside of Fenway or their old neighborhood or something. They played when they were bringing this album out. It's once again we're forced. Where like I said, they were still putting music out at the point, which you get points for that right off the bat.
Yeah.
There are a couple songs that I like on this one. I think Love 3 Times is good, the opener. I think Legendary Child is really good. And I love Street Jesus. I think that is the most modern Aerosmith song between the last, at least between these two albums, that kind of harkens back to a little classic feel for them. But other than that, ton of unrememberable stuff. It's just, you know, you hate to see that if this is their final album, that this is what they go out on, which I don't think you're going to see another Aerosmith album. So it's kind of sad that should this be their final album, that this will be it. Like, you just, heard we could just take it off the turntable.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, I guess Steven Tyler, he's got permanent vocal cord damage now. I mean, that's why they stopped the tour and all that they were doing there. So I don't think they're ever going to re-record or record anything else.
I think they're done
because they're not going to do it with another singer. I mean, it's Steven Tyler. He's just, he sounds too much different than everybody else. There's no way they can. No. They're not gonna. What Elizabeth? What's her name from Linkin Park? They're not gonna just get some other singer and just keep going. It's just not gonna happen, unfortunately.
Yeah. I had this at a 13. I had it second last, and I have it at a C too.
Well, like I always say, God gave rock and roll to you. God taketh rock and roll away. Music from another dimension, not my thing. I'm with Mr. H. This is number 14 and a C minus. Again, just out of respect. I just feel like, when they have a song that kind of hits for me, it's too long and I'm tired of it by the end of it. That was how I felt with Love XXX or whatever, 3 Times Love, whatever. I felt like that started off really strong, and then it was 5 minutes worth of a song, and I'm like, okay, by the end of it, I'm not impressed anymore. And they do that a lot. I'll go the lights, okay, and then it wore on me. Street Jesus, I agree with you, Steve. It was really, really good, but it's too long. It's a 7-minute song. I think just by the end of it, I'm wore out. And maybe, again, when you listen to 14 albums, in between going to a rock music festival and all that stuff, maybe I'm not as patient as I would have been, but there's just too much stuff here. I really wish they would have picked the best 9 or 10 songs out of this, and maybe I would have been more patient with the longer songs, but there's just not a lot memorable here, unfortunately. I will say it was nice to hear drums back, like real live rock drums a lot, which wasn't on the last album. So I'll give them kudos for that as well. But I don't know. Thou shalt not make another album, I guess. So.
This is the line I would have used from Revenge, that this album is unholy. I like that one.
I saw that he said that, but I was too paralyzed by how awesome that was. So I couldn't really go any further.
Couldn't even say it because you were too paralyzed.
Dude, every time I look at you, and I'm talking about John, I think something Revenge.
Oh, easy. Okay. Yeah. Ooh, you're going a different place there.
That could have went anywhere.
Yeah, it went a lot of places.
Dude, I think I have a heart of chrome or something.
Do you get out of your system yet? Is there anything else?
Well, I can't really use Car Jam 1981.
Oh, I'm sure you could car jam it in there somehow.
No, I'm not going to.
No? Okay.
Nope. Anyway, number 14, Music from Another Dimension. And that will wrap up the Aerosmith discography.
All right. Who wants to do the... Oh,
I'm just gonna ask real quick. How many times have you seen Aerosmith live, Mr. H?
Half a time. I left.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What tour,
I was
did you
very
see
unimpressed. It was Get a Grip.
Okay.
Yeah, it was very unimpressed. I was trying to think of who opened. Was it Dokken? No, it wasn't Dokken. It would have been Pump, I think. I don't know. I went to see whoever opened for them more so because that's who the person I went with wanted to see. And we went and I stayed, I don't know, maybe 8 songs-ish. And then they wanted to leave and I wasn't really all that impressed. It wasn't a very good... it was Jackal, I guess. Maybe? I don't know. I was trying to remember.
No. John, I only saw Aerosmith once, and it wasn't for Get a Grip. It was for when they did the big ones, greatest hits. They did a tour where they did, I think they had 1 or 2 songs on that big ones. They had Blind Man and
I'd have to look it up.
Head First or something like that. Anyway, so it was at the Gund Arena over here, which is now the Rocket Arena where the Cavs play. it was Jackal, and then it was Ted Nugent opening for Aerosmith, and then they played everything before that the big ones, I guess it was.
Yeah,
So,
this was at the Coliseum for me, so it was
okay.
prior to '94 when Gun Arena opened. But I can't remember who opened, but I just remember that Aerosmith wasn't all that impressive, and Steven Tyler was swinging on a vine somewhere, like, and I don't know, it was weird.
Yeah.
So,
How about you, Steve?
that
How many
was it.
times did you see them?
Twice. I saw
Okay.
them on the Done with Mirrors tour. Like I said, that one show, and that was with Ted
Sweaty
Nugent opening up for them.
Teddy.
Sweaty Teddy, and that was Ted was Little Miss Dangerous album, which was great show. And then I saw them on permanent vacation at that one show. The Guns N' Roses opened up for them. I've only seen them twice. I had tickets to a chance for free tickets when they toured with Kiss, and I didn't have any interest to go.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I didn't, because they said, people I've talked to had said that tour was kind of a disaster, and they were kind of fighting over who's opening, who's closing, if they were switching nights off. And my one buddy went, and he said they left during Aerosmith. They were not good though. Just twice. That's it.
Okay.
I think you're right, John. I'm pretty sure it was Jackal. I feel like there was still like chainsaw smoke hanging in the air from Lumberjack at the end of their set, when Aerosmith came out. But yeah, I want to say, I think I'd only seen Jackal once, and it had to be that time. So I think that's who it was.
Yeah, So I saw two shows like back to back there at the Gund Arena, and one, funny enough, was Kiss, and I always mix up the openers there. So I think Kiss was Ted Nugent and Sebastian Bach, I believe.
Huh.
That was the Psycho Circus tour.
Okay, I was gonna say.
And then Aerosmith had, I believe, Jackal and who did I say?
Ted.
Ted. Yeah, was it Ted?
You said Ted.
Well, Ted. Yeah. Well, I mix them up. Whatever it was with those two, but yeah. So that's the only time I ever saw Aerosmith, and I felt I was good with that. Like, I never really had the itch to go see them again. So I think we're all kind of on the same page there, where we're like,
looking back, I wish I had stayed, because that was the only time that I saw them. I'm 21 years old at the time. I'm like, I'm going to see Aerosmith again some other time. We were just going to go do other things, and we weren't really into it. So I don't know, kind of being the only time, I wish I would have stayed for longer, but it's easy to say now. And it wasn't all that impressive to me. I was like, all right, I'm ready to go. Let's go. Concerts were $22 back then too.
Yeah, back then.
Big deal,
Yep. No, absolutely. It's a different ball game now. Yeah. All right, Mr. H, let's hear your 14.
All right. Number 14, Music from Another Dimension. Number 13, Just Push Stop. Number 12, Rockin' a Hard Place. Number 11, 9 Lives. Number 10, Done with Mirrors. Number 9, self-titled, Aerosmith. Number 8, Draw the Line. Number 7, Night in the Ruts. Number 6, Toys in the Attic. Number 5, Get a Grip. Number 4, Get Your Wings. Number 3, Permanent Vacation. Number 2, Rocks. And number 1, Pump.
All right, Steve, you're up. 14-1.
Okay.
Now's your chance. Now you're set in stone now.
Here we go. All right.
Worded in pen.
All right. 14, Just Push Play. 13, Music from Another Dimension. 12, Aerosmith self-titled. 11, Rockin' a Hard Place. 10, Draw the Line. 9, Get a Grip. 8, 9 Lives. 7, Night in the Ruts. 6, Pump. 5, Permanent Vacation. 4, Rocks. 3, Done with Mirrors. Toys in the Attic at number 2. And Get Your Wings at numero uno.
All right. For me, number 14, Music from Another Dimension. Number 13, Just Push Stop. Number 12, Done with Mirrors. Number 11, Night in the Ruts. Number 10, Rockin' a Hard Place. Number 9, 9 Lives. Number 8, Aerosmith self-titled. Number 7, Permanent Vacation. Number 6, Draw the Line. Number 5, Get a Grip. Number 4, Pump. Number 3, Get Your Wings. Number 2 is Rocks. Number 1 is Toys, Toys, Toys in the Attic. Toys. Toys in the Attic. 14-1.
I guess when they were writing that song, Steven Tyler was just in the studio and he was hearing the riff, and he just kept thinking toys. Like he's like, I don't know why that came to me, so it's kind of funny.
Yeah,
way to tie it up.
All right. Anything else about Aerosmith, fellas? I think we got it all out, huh?
I think so. Yeah. Great
now
stuff.
I don't have to
Thank
listen to them
you
for
so
another
much
couple months.
Yeah.
There you go. Now I'm
actually going to come back and listen to a little bit more of this when I get some time, because I found some stuff in here that I like more than I thought I would. So
yeah, no, I agree. There's some good stuff in here for sure.
It's always good to go back through.
Yeah, more than I thought. Like I'm really surprised. This is one of the ones that caught me kind of off guard. I was almost dreading it in a way, and it's kind of funny that we had 2 weeks in between, and I had it all done in 1 week because I started listening. I'm like, this is actually pretty good. And then the more I listened to it, I got to like Rocks, which I never listened to. I'm like, man, this is really good. So I just kept listening. So yeah, it was really worked out. Asia next. Now we're done with A for now, John. Maybe next time.
You gotta wait for season 3, bro.
We're
on to B.
What is Steve loves Asia, so there you go.
What is what are we doing next? What are we doing for B, Mr. H?
Aren't we doing For My Valentine next?
Didn't
you just see them?
Did I just see them?
Yes,
I did just see them. Yes, they were excellent. I was lucky enough to see them play all of the Poison, which is
really,
by far, I think their best album. I guess I shouldn't spoil that the week before.
That's number one for Heard.
Yeah. So
I don't know. That's gonna be a tough one for me.
Yeah, but that was great to hear that. I think that's a banging album. So that was cool. It sucks though that they're touring with Trivium, and Trivium didn't get that much time, so they only got to play maybe 3-4 songs off of Ascendancy. They're doing that tour.
They played 45 minutes or so. They wouldn't have even had enough time to play all of Ascendancy if they tried. So Bullet for My Valentine next week. So I'm looking forward to that. I haven't listened to a lot of their stuff in a while. So I'm looking forward to this. So
that should be fun.
Same for me.
So Steve, thanks. We really appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, thanks so much. Pot of the Hell, Steve.
Yeah, everybody check out
Pot of the Hell.
Great podcast. Yeah,
let me real quick. Let me plug. I also do a Queensryche podcast as well. It's called I Remember Now, the Queensryche podcast. I do it with my buddy Ray Farrell. I just, for some reason, because we only do that like maybe once a month or so. So I always kind of forget to mention that, but I made sure that I would not forget it tonight. But I appreciate the invite. It's always fun. Great meeting you guys. Hopefully I can get you guys on Potter Than Hell coming up.
Hell yeah, anytime, man.
Working on the schedule for the fall and the winter. I already have stuff up till like September, I think, ready to go.
Nice. So, we're scheduled out to like May of 2026, I think. So yeah, we'll let you know when we're doing Kiss, and we'll get you on for that for sure.
Good.
And then whatever else you want to come on for.
I'll be in. Let me know. I'll be there. So yeah, so I'll see what I got coming up for the winter and the fall. Hopefully get you guys on, and we'll see what's what. I really appreciate the invite, and I enjoy the podcast. Like I said,
thank you, man.
And it's all about chemistry. Like I even listen when it's bands that I hate.
Nice.
So.
I know what you said. I listened to your podcast. You said we frustrate you sometimes. You're like, these guys are idiots. Pulling his hair out over there. Yeah, that's what makes it fun, right?
Well,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mr. H and I have definitely gotten to some memorable, I believe, disagreements.
Yes.
Iron Maiden, there was like one album that I loved that he hated, and one that he hated that
that's what it's all about.
Yeah. We're lined up for like 90% of the podcast, and then one of them, like one's way up here.
Yeah.
We're like, what are you doing, man? What are you thinking?
Right.
But Steve, we don't want to limit it to just you too. So, let me know what your other guys listen to if they would be interested in joining us too.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, absolutely. They'd be glad to come on.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Just more people to add to the family and just talk some rock and metal. I think that. And also,
thanks, John, Rob, Brian. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Yeah, absolutely.
It adds so much. It's so fun to read along with your guys' comments, even with all the revenge stuff.
Yeah.
No, it's good stuff. Thanks, guys.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening once again to the TwoBobsCast, and we will see you in the next one.
Rock on.
Looks like you've been missing a lot of work lately.
I wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bob.
What would you say you do here?
God damn it. Bob, we love playing here tonight. My brother's ready.
It helps if you think of it as a game. Every game has a winner and a loser.
You must possess strength to inflict pain, Bob.